Hello, welcome to this month's Braemar TV. I'm Shona Armstrong and I'm shortly going to be celebrating my 60th birthday here in the Braemar Highland Games Centre along with family and friends. And that's where we start this year's Junior Highland Games.
Hi, I'm Gordon Rattray and I'm the commentator at the Braemar Junior Highland Games. Now in its 15th year, and it's been running over this time to try and get children involved in the Highland Games sports. And so we have a full range of activities. We've got heavyweights, we've got tug of war, we've got Highland dancing, musical competition and hill race.
Go! Go, Conrad.
Oh, that was your best yet. Go. Oh. Yes, nice one.
Look at that, they're off! Fantastic! And so it's a great reflection on what the real big Highland Games are like. And actually we've had a fantastic two champions really. We've got a boy who started with us must be 8 years ago now, called Murdo Masterson, who's now actually breaking world records for his age group. And today we were welcoming for the second year a young guy called John Shans, who at 16 is now already competing on the Highland Games circuit. He started off here as well last year. So that's the whole point of the games, is to get people involved and of course have competition and fun for the whole family.
Here we go!
We've had a tremendous day today. We've only had one shower and we've actually had hundreds of kids and their parents having a fantastic day.
And there's activities for all ages?
Yeah, it's all ages. I think we've got toddlers races, like from about 3 years old right through to adults participating in the family tug of war events. So it is really for everyone.
And displays as well for people watching. You've got the pipe bands and other activities.
With two pipe bands today, we had Newton Hill and Balter pipe bands, and they come in and march around the field, and both of them gave a medley of tunes at different times during the day. On top of that we had individual pipers in competition as well as drummers.
Yeah, so there's competitions for all sorts, music competitions as well as the field track.
Absolutely.
And heavies.
Just like a reflection on the games, and hopefully these youngsters will continue through to take part in the games in the adult version in the future.
I'm Katie Kavanagh, one of the archivists at Aberdeen City and Aberdeenshire Archives, and I'm going to be using material from our collections and other local heritage collections today to explore the history of the Fife Arms Hotel. And we can see here, free from the bottom, is the Fife Arms Inn and Stabling. And it's owned by, as many of the buildings were in this estate, by the Earl of Fife, who at this point would have been James Duff, the 5th Earl. And obviously it's the Fife Arms Inn rather than hotel at this point, and hotels in the modern sense didn't really exist at this point. Inns provided many of the same functions, this sort of combined accommodation and food, but also stabling for horses. But obviously they differed from taverns and pubs that would have been available because you could stay at them as well. Now, I haven't been able to get a precise date of construction for the original Fife Arms Inn. The earliest I've been able to find a reference for it is the 1830s. And the Fife family actually give their names to several inns across Scotland. There's one in Banff near their seat at Dove House. There's ones in Kirkcaldy, Keith, Abercurder, Turriff and Craigellachie as well. The earliest reference to the inn itself I've been able to find was in the 1830s. So there's 2 entries for the Fife Arms here. It's arranged by parish, and then we've got the innkeepers here, and then there's also an entry under the post office because at the time the manager of the inn, John Elmsley, was also the postmaster for the area. But you can see there's 2 inns in the parish at this time as well. The inn would have served at this point as a changing post for carriages to acquire fresh horses, and it's obviously an important stopping point on the route between Perthshire and east into Aberdeenshire along the Dee. Moving on from the 1830s into the 1840s, there's a second statistical account done. So the ministers are asked to do another report on their local parishes, and the one for Craffey and Braemar was done in 1842 there, and there's a description of the inn, which is not particularly favourable, I have to say. From the 1860s and in the 1870s, we can see that it's starting to be described as a hotel rather than an inn. So here we have a bill issued by the hotel in 1873. We've established why it was existing, so it's a coaching stop, and how it's got its name. So now we're going to look at where the extra customers came, because obviously it's gone from being that size to what we see today. So something's changed in the 19th century. And we know from the assessed tax roll that it's not a particularly, Braemar isn't a big place at that point. A combination of royalty and the other sort of attractions to the area mean that there's more aristocratic and upper class audience, people coming to the area. And not everyone would have been invited to stay at Balmoral or have wanted to potentially. So hotels in Braemar would have met that need. This is from the Harbour Board collection I mentioned earlier. The harbour engineer seems to have taken his work camera home with him. So we've got various pictures of him on holiday in Deeside. So this is him visiting the Fife Arms, which is lovely. But you can see the omnibus here. It does say Ballater to Balmoral, so that's the method of transport illustrated there with that photo. But the Building News in January 1898 reported that a commencement had been made with rebuilding the Fife Arms Hotel, Braemar. The plans and specifications have been prepared by Mr. A. Marshall Mackenzie, and a start has been made with the work. The undertaking will take 3 years to complete, and in order that the tourist season may not be interfered with, the work is to be done in sections. The first part of the building will be completed in time for the season of 1898. So these alterations raised the building and refronted it as well. And the architect, Alexander Marshall Mackenzie, was from Aberdeen, and he was also responsible for the Grey School of Art, Aberdeen Art Gallery, and sections of Marshall College in Aberdeen. He also designed the church at Craffey in 1893 and rebuilt Merle Lodge for the Duke and Duchess of Fife in 1895. So presumably they were happy with his work there and decided to employ him on the hotel. So in 1967, the hotel was purchased by Scottish and Newcastle brewers, and the following year the hotel closed for 3 months to be refurbished. They renovated in particular the cocktail bar, and it was doubled in size and enlarged the kitchen. It's possibly, this newspaper is focusing on the renovations. It looks very old-fashioned nowadays, but in the 60s I'm sure it was the height of sophistication. In 2014 it gets purchased by Ewan and Manuela Worth's art gallery owners and underwent a full renovation. So it's now 46 rooms, but presumably they're much more spacious than they would have been in former years. But obviously still with an emphasis on Scottish heritage, but with a new art emphasis as well, which brings us up to the present day.
I am honoured to be about to celebrate my 60th birthday along with family and friends, and I'm here at the Braemar Highland Games Centre, and it couldn't be more fitting because I have been associated with this Braemar Gathering Arena since I was aged 5 or 6, when we used to come as a family up from Kilt and spend time at the Braemar Games and have picnics up in Braemar. So it's very fitting to be here celebrating my 60th birthday, although it's a bit of a shock to the system. But I've worked and lived on Deeside for 22 years, but my association working as a doctor in Deeside goes back 25 years, both working here in Braemar and Ballater. And I also love the area, and I love the history and tradition. The cairngorms are wonderful, and I spent 13 years in mountain rescue, so I've spent many a happy time wandering in the cairngorms. So my 60th birthday is, I'm honoured to have family from as far as Singapore here, and London, Edinburgh, and we're looking forward to celebrating tonight with close friends also from the village that I've known for 22 years.
This is the Braemar Kilted Open. It's the 7th year that we've been running it. All players are asked to wear kilts. We play as a Texas Scramble. This year we've 12 teams entering. The principle is just to have fun and to bring people to this wonderful course that we've got here. The event is supported by local people. They've been coming back year after year. Last year our winner was the Butchers team. Mr. Stuart Metcalf was in that team, and every day when we go into the Butchers he reminds us about that. So we're hoping this year that Stuart Metcalf team doesn't win. We have a new winner.
Yay!
It's celebrating Braemar, celebrating being the highest course, 18-hole course in Scotland. And it's wonderful to see everybody in their kilts. The swing of the kilts is gorgeous. In our 2nd year, we had a French family drive through the course. We have a road through the course. And they looked and they thought, well, everybody wears a kilt in Scotland when they're playing golf. So it's a marvellous event, and we have haggis, neeps and tatties in the clubhouse after the event, the prize giving. And Alistair Lane, the drum major, pipe major from the Lonnock, plays the pipes for us. So it's just a very wonderful Scottish day.
Hi, I'm Kaz Osborne, and this is Invercauld Flower Garden, and what we're doing is, the idea is to provide flowers and foliage to the Fife Hotel and also the main house here at Invercauld. I had not any idea about Scottish gardening because I was just moved away from Cornwall, and I'd been in London, and there they have no frost or anything, which is interesting when you're told that actually it goes down to the lowest temperatures this country gets, and also it has the extremest temperature range. So that was fab, because all the gardening knowledge you have to use, and especially with the flower garden. But there has been really nice surprises with it, and that is that everything happens within 4 months here. And the nicest surprise, because you get such cold weather, the frosts make everything darker in shade. So this flower garden can have really deep purples behind me here, and then the flowers just go whoosh over 4 months, and they don't have any time to straggle or anything. They just put all their energy into one big blast. So it's quite fun. The results are well rewarded. I've been here, working here, I think I heard about it 3 years ago.
Okay.
And then I come up 2-3 times a year just to give Michael a quick hand here and there, because sometimes, the weeds just come up and the meadow needs cutting and things like that. So I'm just on hand. But it's nice to follow up on the project, to be honest with you.
And you're enjoying the experience?
Oh, I love it. Yeah, of course I do.
her round, it's fine. Alright, she's coming. Happy birthday to you. Make a wish. Somebody's hoping. Ready?